Well, hey, good evening, everyone. It is Friday night. We're down in the grow room. It's been a pretty good evening. We have kind of a rare occasion. We had all the kids at home, so we just spent some time together, kind of celebrating the end of the school year for them. Got some pizza and um, watched that movie. What's it called? Invincible. It's got Mark Wahlberg in it. It was pretty good. And just hung out, had some ice cream and stuff, and so now everybody's kind of going off and pursuing their little hobbies and stuff downstairs, and just we are planning to do some planting tomorrow, Lord willing. I think the weather's supposed to be pretty good, maybe a 30% chance of rain the last time I saw the forecast, but I'm going to try to get out to Dad's, and um, we're a little behind. I get I still have my kind of cooler weather crops in the greenhouse. Just have not had time to get them in the ground yet, but the plan is to get those all situated this weekend, and maybe even do some warm weather stuff. And then Memorial Day weekends, kind of historically the big planting weekend where we got the tomatoes and the peppers and all of that. So um, let's just look at everything real quick. So I potted these up um, last night, and they're looking really healthy. These are the Edgevarsky pepper.
I can't find the cat anywhere.
Did you look outside? You look in Olivia's room?
Olivia is in there and she's putting out the cat.
Well, open the front door.
I did, and I called for her.
She might be in the back deck.
Olivia
You
already
want to check
checked
that?
She'll
She'll come inside for food. I would grab the food bowl and shake it. So we got this cat. Her name's Sylvie. She's an indoor-outdoor cat, but she doesn't go very far when she goes outdoors. She stays pretty much around the perimeter of the house. She's a stray. We got her like 2 years ago. She just was, I think someone dropped her off. Malnourished, had a lot of issues, just super lovey, and we thought, well, this is gonna be a great cat. And then as soon as we kind of got her all fixed up and everything, she's somewhat of a rat. I mean, she only pays attention to you when she's hungry, and just some issues, but we're kind of stuck with her now. It's funny the things you just kind of endure out of love for your kids or a significant other, right? Anyway, down here, I potted these up. These are Edvarsky peppers, really nice bell peppers. You can see they're really, really good. I think these three are the Edvarsky, and then we got Corno de Toro, the red ones. Some Craig's jalapenos. These are all, this whole tray is jalapeno. Then we got some red Thai chilies. I did these late last night, and I actually finished up the early this morning with some Buena Mulata. Really nice hot pepper. Some more Edvarsky, and I got some eggplant camo, which was a really nice Japanese variety, and I got some that's called Little Fingers over here. And then these are my buddy's tomatoes, Tom Frugal Proper. I started a bunch of these for him. Celebrity. Most of those are Celebrity, and then I think like 6 or 7 of them are the Giant Crimson from M.I. Gardner. I mean, the roots have just taken off. They're filling up the pot. I've pruned these back several times, just trying to keep good airflow, keep the mold down. I've also left this door open or cracked just so it doesn't get so hot in here, because last year I kept the door closed and it got hot and there wasn't a lot of air movement. We had problems with gray mold on the tomatoes. Haven't had that issue this year by keeping this door open a little bit. And we've got a few more peppers. Let's see, what are these? King of the North. Really nice bell pepper. So as you can see, everything is really green. Nice looking. I've been using this organic fertilizer as a foliar spray. Mix about a tablespoon of this, or maybe it's a teaspoon to a gallon of water. Watering these in. These did start out as soil blocks. I think I've got another little video where I showed you how I was separating those, and then potted them up to the big pots here. I think these are 7-inch pots, at least in terms of depth, and then 4 inches here, or 3.5. But basically, gives them plenty of space to grow. They're really going to take off, in the next week, because they're kind of getting their bearings and it's getting warmer, just like these tomatoes did. I like the whole soil block idea. It's a good way to get a bunch of seedlings started and everything, but if you're growing in an outdoor environment where the conditions are kind of severe, a lot of these plants just need more time to develop and a bigger root stock because of just how harsh the conditions are, being in full sun all day, and it's just kind of rough, and it takes them a little while to adapt. You need to all of that, and so potting them up to a larger pot, getting them time to get acclimated to this, it makes a huge difference when starting a garden. Now, if it's a backyard garden, where there's a lot of wind breaks and like maybe partial shade, or if I was growing in like a high tonal environment, then maybe it wouldn't be as important. But really getting these as good of a start in terms of the rootstock is the key to them thriving out in the garden, and making sure they're well fed and watered and all that. Especially the tomatoes. Having them this large is going to be nice because you can plant them pretty deep and still have a nice stalk that you can train up, because these are indeterminate, so they're going to vine, and I'm trying to trim them or keep them to one stalk, so when Tom plants these, he'll be able to throw them to the ground and string them up pretty easily without having to do a lot of work on them. Just helps out. Rigged up this little light here. And basically, it's my little potting station to pot it up. I think I showed you guys this before with this big muck tub where I'm able to mix all my ingredients, and then using that drill there to mix it all up. It's worked out really well. Now, once I do get everything planted out in the garden, I'm going to switch over I'm going to supplement with kind of using the mitt lighter method, basically, and doing the constant feed initially, where there's a recipe where it's basically 2 tablespoons of a tablespoon of the fertilizer mix to 1 gallon of water, and you let that all dissolve and whatnot, and then use that as a foliar spray. You use less fertilizer that way, going that route, as opposed to broadcasting it on the ground, and every couple days. I would water with that. And then we'll probably switch over to just broadcasting a little bit onto the ground. Not a ton because I don't want to burn the soil or mess up the biology in the soil. So we're trying to build the ground at the same time with like the cover mulches and stuff we're doing. But yeah, that's kind of the game plan. See what else has been going on. I was kind of neat. My dad. I'll put this up on a tripod. So he went down. He recently turned 80. We had a couple different birthday parties for him. Had a real good time. And anyway, he went down to Evansville where we used to live, where I grew up anyway, and he brought back two kind of older vintage tillers, right? Not that I till a whole bunch, but he got a BCS 205, which is pretty neat. It's kind of like I think it's the smallest model they make, like a little like backyard garden tiller, PTO style, whatever, where you can put a couple different implements on it. Brought that back, but then he also brought back this Troy-Bilt horse, and a vintage Troy-Bilt horse that, if it was like brand new, is worth a lot more than I thought it would be. Several $1,000s or whatever if it were new and fixed up and all that. Well, of course, it's all hasn't been run for years. It's been sitting in a barn for forever. So he's got both of those machines down at a local shop, getting them refurbished to see what we can do with that, and then maybe with the Troy-Bilt horse in particular, we'll try to do some restoration on that, replace some parts out, or repaint it and whatnot. It should last forever. I mean, the whole thing, the part of the machine's like cast iron forever, a really long time anyway, with minimal maintenance. So hope to get those up and kind of running and be able to play around with them a little bit. In particular, like planting potatoes and things of that nature. So those are some projects that are kind of like in the future, but we're gonna try to get everything planted. And then I may sell plants this year. My wife's been on me because you go to the local greenhouse and like something like this is like $4, and I'm probably gonna have, I don't know, maybe like at least 30 plants left over. I always do more than what I need because you get some that die or just don't take for whatever reason. Well, hey there, Iva. Yeah, likewise. I mean, all the stuff that I've given away over the years, it's just crazy. It's like one of those things where it's just kind of labor of love, though, because like, I mean, I don't mind doing this stuff, and it's not like I have to make money on it. So, like my buddy Tom, last couple years I've been doing tomatoes for him, and he's gonna get a few peppers and some eggplant this year. Probably about, I don't know, I'm probably gonna give him like at least 20, 25 plants, more than likely. All really healthy and stuff like that. I wish I could do more. If we had, if the greenhouse were here where I could really tend to it, or I had like a hoop house type deal, or a grow tunnel or caterpillar tunnel where I could set it up like that, there I could start a lot more. And then, give more away, but then potentially sell them too. I know people would buy them off me if that's what I wanted to do. But typically, just, I don't know, grow more than what I need, and then just kind of see how it goes, and then we ultimately end up just giving stuff away. Or I think maybe I took money once, but we may do it this year. Because we got some other expenses and stuff, and it'd be kind of nice to offset a little bit with some of the plans. At least maybe recoup the cost for the potting mix and stuff, because this stuff's not cheap. It's like this Pro Mix. This big block was probably like $40, $45. Giving those to some friends, leftover onion plants, which it's amazing how long these last. I mean, that's still, it's basically kind of dormant, semi-dormant there. Let's see what else is going on. I know what's going on in your world. I talk too much. I need to stop by your channel and see what you got going on. See if you got anything growing or. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know about you, but like anymore, I do lazy YouTube where like, okay, I feel like on a night, right? That's cool. By the time I've got some video editing software. I got this stuff. It was a Corel Visual Studio or whatnot. It wasn't too bad, $70. And then usually they try to sell me an upgrade. Every couple of years I'll upgrade it. I'll wait till like it's actually into the next year, and then they discount it heavily where maybe it's only like $20 to upgrade, and then I'll go ahead and upgrade it. Works out pretty well, you know, in terms of doing like basic editing and stuff like that. And so but anymore, I just find I don't have I don't know if it's just don't want to fool with it. Remember, that's part of it where I want to get the stuff done and like not have to like stop and like film it all, whatever. And I don't have anybody really helping me do any of that anyway. So I'm not making as many videos. Oh, you got a long growing season then, Zone 8. You could probably go to like December and then probably start back up in like March. I'm guessing maybe even February. Whereas where I'm in, I want to say, is it 6B? Yeah, our season, if like I don't have any cover or protection for the plants, like usually it's from Mother's Day weekend or mid-May. Yeah, Mother's Day weekend, mid-May, Memorial Day weekend to be safe. Through Halloween, it's kind of the frost dates. So like Mother's Day weekend was real nice, but then like this past week we had a cold snap and it got down in the 40s. So I was like real glad I didn't plant any of the tomatoes. They would have made it, but it would have like they would not have liked the tomatoes and peppers would not have liked it dipping down that cold. But usually by Memorial Day weekend, you know, we're seeing high 70s, 80s. Sometimes it'll spike like 90, and then it stays pretty warm the rest of the season. Wow. I won't get my first tomatoes to probably the beginning of July if I'm lucky, depending on how fast they grow. Well, I'll get some cherry tomatoes initially, and then my first ones are usually the True Black Brandywine. Yeah. True Black Brandy Wine. It's one of the burgundy or darker types, kind of like the Cherokee Purple, and that and the Black Pineapple or Snore. That's the other one that comes in around kind of early. And then there's a bunch of mid-season ones like Dester and Pink Brandy Wine, and then the later season ones are the sauce tomatoes. Usually they're not coming in till towards the end. Yeah, black types are really good. It's got a different flavor. But then it's usually a ton of sauce tomatoes. You're gonna love. Yeah, Dester is. That's an awesome tomato. It's like an all-around like slicer canning tomato. That makes sense. And we got this local one that I've been trying to grow the last couple of years called Dallas Wilson Cuban. Those are the ones that produce the really big ones. We got some videos on that where I think my largest one was like almost like 2 pounds, 7.8 ounces or something like that. It was huge. It was massive, like the size of my son's head. He had it up to his face, and it was like he had it in both hands and just massive. But it doesn't produce a lot. Only a couple of big ones. But the Dester and True Black Brandy Wine, the other ones, they produce pretty well. We're doing a Sun Gold, Black Strawberry, for the cherry tomatoes, Chadwick Cherry. Yeah. So we're doing a fair amount of cherry tomatoes, and then a couple different sauce ones. So it should be interesting to see what happens this year. No, usually I try to mix up. I'll try maybe one new cherry tomato, but I keep most of them the same, and I'll rotate one out. So like this year, I'm rotating out black cherry. I usually do the black cherry tomatoes; are really good. I'm doing Sun Gold instead this year, and I decided to keep the black strawberry. That was like really neat one from Baker Creek. That they're like plum-sized tomatoes. They're kind of late season. They take a long time to mature, but then the fruits on them were pretty good. Yeah, Sun Gold. I got a buddy in Indiana. That's his favorite. It's usually when yeah, I got a ton of seeds. The other thing we're gonna do this year is I got the microgreens, and that's worked out really well. Actually, the only reason why I don't have microgreens going right now is because of all the plants down here in the grow room. You know, I have to baby the tomatoes and the peppers till it's warmer. So, like this weekend, I'll probably take them out to the greenhouse and or maybe even stage them outside. I've got a little makeshift table I can set up so that they can start the hardening off process, get used to the wind and stuff like that. But the microgreens, those have been awesome this season, and I need to start another round because we're out now. I had harvested like 10 pounds about 2 weeks ago, and we've pretty well eaten through them, or they've gone bad by now. Like they last about a week and a half if you store them in like Ziploc bag with a paper towel to keep them dry. So yeah, it's going really well. I'm trying to think what else has been going on here lately. Kids are out of school. We're gonna be running around. My son just finished up baseball, and then he's playing summer ball. So The season's going to go to like 4th of July, and I think they're playing like 15 games. So every week he's got stuff, and they got like a 4-hour practice, 3 or 4 hour. I think it's 4-hour practice, 3 4 hour practice tomorrow. So he's not going to be much help. I'm going to be relying on my other kids. If anyone can help me tomorrow, they can get. So anyway, that's just kind of the gist of it. I thought I'd make a real quick video. We'll pan around again. Yeah, that's awesome. We years ago we got one of those too. It was gifted to us, and it took about a week to put together, and was awesome. The kids loved it. And I remember we were actually talking about this this past weekend, because there was one Mother's Day weekend. We call it the Mother's Day Massacre, because there was a bird nest up in the of robins or something, and I think there were 4 of them up in the nest, at least 3. But the kids would check on them every day. Well, the Mother's Day, my wife climbed up the slide to check on them. Well, I guess they were to the point where they were ready to jump out the nest, and when they saw her, they jumped out, and like one of them hit her on the top of the head. She starts screaming and stuff, and next thing you know, I see this bird coming down the slide, and at the bottom of the slides are miniature dachshund. And as soon as the bird got down, then went right in the dog's mouth, and the dog just crunched. It was terrible. We were able to save the other birds. We were able to distract. You find the cat?
Mm-mm.
No. You want me to help you look?
You can check outside, but
We'll look for Sylvie here. So, anyway, hilarious. I mean, it wasn't. It was a little traumatic for the kids at the time because they had named the birds and all that, and then But now looking back on it, it's like that's something that we're gonna forget. So, well, hey, I appreciate you just hanging out here and correspond a little bit. Hopefully the swing set build goes good. Get everything going, and I'm hoping to get some stuff planted this weekend. It's all looking so good. So I guess we'll catch you on the next one. Have a great weekend.